If you're like, fuck, Christmas is next week, or this week, I don't have any presents, don't worry, I got you. Here are 6 presents that you can probably pull together last minute. Don't worry, I believe in you.
I don't think anyone would be mad to get a plant as a present. Who doesn't want a plant? And sure, you can head to the nursery and buy a plant and buy a pot and you'll be done. But if you want to put your own personal spin on it, head to the thrift store and pick out a ceramic vase or something of a similar shape that you think would make a cool planter.
I really like the shape of this. I wonder if I could paint it.
Look for something with texture on it. That is gonna be the most ideal here. I wouldn't go for like a glass vase because it's just gonna be too smooth and it's gonna look kind of weird when you paint it. You could add faux texture with that whole like baking soda trend that happened, but it turns out you can't really get that wet, which nobody in those videos told me. I tried it last year and it did not end well. Anyway, scuff your piece up with some low grit sandpaper. I'm using 120 grit here, and this is just going to help the paint adhere to the vessel. Use a spray paint to coat with the color of your choice. I went a little bit outside of my comfort zone with this limey chartreuse color.
No!
But the recipient of this gift loves this color, so I'm hoping she's gonna like it. Don't be afraid to think outside of the box. Try layering pieces on top of each other. You could create a little pedestal. Remember my thrifted pedestal dish? But different, because it has to fit a pot. Anyway, you probably get the idea. Instead of worrying about drilling drainage holes and all of that, we're just gonna fill the bottom with some pebbles that will give space for the water to sit in and not over soak the roots. I'm really, really happy that California is finally getting rain. That I keep like running out when it stops to finish these projects. Here's a little tip for you. When you go to the nursery and you try to get like rock pebbles for the bottom of your plants, they charge you like $10 for something about this big, but you can get like ground cover rocks at the hardware store, like $5. This is a bag of, I don't know, it's really heavy. I hurt my wrist earlier. And add some soil and your plant. Fun fact, if you're feeling short on cash but plant wealthy, you can propagate a cutting from an existing plant by leaving it to soak in some water. However, if you're in a pinch, you won't really have time to propagate the plant, but if you already have plants propagating, you can do this. Something like a philodendron might actually be able to go straight into the soil if there's already some little nubs on it. The prayer plant I'm using in this must be propagated in water first. And that is all you've got to do. A pre-mixed cocktail that you can just serve over ice? Yes, please. No effort required for them. Once you've decided what cocktail to make,
Merry Christmas!
figure out your proportions and scale up. A Negroni is traditionally made with equal parts gin, Campari, and sweet vermouth. A 1:1:1 ratio. However, I think probably in the last decade or even longer, bartenders kind of came to the agreement that it tasted better with a 2:1 ratio, 2 parts of gin to 1 part of Campari and sweet vermouth. So take that idea with you, but we're actually gonna use mezcal instead of gin because a mezcal Negroni is also delicious and might be something new that whoever you're giving this gift to may have never tried before. Also, I do not have Campari. I have a locally made version of it. They make it in Alameda, which is over there. But for all intents and purposes, it's the same thing. So I poured 200 milliliters of mezcal, 100 milliliters of Burrito Americano or Campari, and 100 milliliters of sweet vermouth. Now the idea here is to pre-mix it with ice so that it's as watered down as it should be. And that way the person can serve it chilled and up, which is the classic way, or on the rocks. I actually like it on the rocks if it's like a big ice cube. Anyway, make sure you tell them that it's pre-mixed. Of course, you could do it without this part. I need to get better tongs. These tongs, and just do this and pour it in, which would be totally fine. Then you would have to give them instructions to do this part. And sometimes it's nice to just not have to do anything. That's why we get pre-mixed cocktails, right? This happened last time. But they're so cute. Oh my God, I'm doing it with my hands. They're clean. All right. I'm just gonna drink this whole thing right now. I'm just kidding. Just kidding? Don't do that. Please don't do that. I have one of these right now. The really great thing is that if you get the smaller bottles, these are less than 3.4 ounces. And if you get these ones, then you can take them on an airplane if you're flying to somewhere to give people presents, or if people are flying on an airplane to visit you, they can still take it home with them. Well, an orange or an orange peel is the classic garnish for a Negroni, but you can't really include that here. Or can you? Remember when I made dried citrus for my biodegradable holiday decor video? And I said that I liked to use these in cocktails as well? Well, now's your opportunity. You can include one of these dried orange slices with a Strike Anywhere match, and then your giftee is ready to drink a cocktail without even lifting a finger. Serve chilled or over ice. And don't feel guilty if you wind up enjoying some for yourself too. Seems like I'm gonna have a little cocktail for myself right now, huh? We're gonna use these. Strike Anywhere match re-releases the oils and gives the drink a nice kind of smoky citrus flavor. Melt yourself into my drink, please. Thank you. You can try this with any cocktail that is comprised solely of spirits. It's fantastic. Your relatives are gonna be so happy. Think old-fashioned. You can just do the bitters on the whiskey, and you could include a little sugar cube and an orange slice, or a Manhattan, sweet vermouth and whiskey and an orange slice. I don't know how you would do the cherry. You could do a dried cherry. It's not quite the same, but it could be cute. You could even do a martini.
but make sure you know what the person's martini preference is. You don't want to go giving a wet and dirty martini to someone who likes their martinis dry with a twist. Do we need to do a martini episode? Let me know in the comments if you want to see that. You can get these little essence bottles online or maybe at a craft store. If you can't find little bottles like this locally, you can always substitute with something like a mason jar or another recycled bottle that you have on hand. Make sure that you sanitize them before using. If all that mixing is too much work for you, don't worry, do this instead. Head to the liquor store and pick out a selection of mini bottles in the same theme. You could choose a cocktail or most of the components of a cocktail. Or what I did here is an American whiskey tasting flight. That's what we're gonna call it, a tasting flight, because I love whiskey, in case that wasn't clear. It is not a bag of little bottles of liquor, it's a flight. Package them with some cute glassware that you've thrifted or purchased somewhere, and you're done. The great thing about this gift is that if you are flying to a destination to give people presents, this can go in your carry-on. And if somebody is coming to visit you on an airplane and leaving, they can take it back with them in their carry-on, unless they wind up drinking it on the flight, which is illegal now, but I won't tell. Recently, I went thrifting for my holiday gifts, and you can watch that episode here. And I mentioned that one of my favorite things to do is rescue solo pieces of vintage glassware. You know, that like one beautiful cup that you find and it's the only one, it's lost all of its friends, it's the sole survivor, and you just want to give it a new life. Make a candle. If you have candle making supplies already, that's great. If not, you can purchase these kits that include the little sticky things and the wick and the wax and the thing that holds it in place so it's straight. And you can get one of these little melting pots for the wax as well. I know this is not something you're gonna wind up buying last minute, although if you can get it last minute, that in and of itself could make a cool gift. I definitely recommend getting this stuff at some point to just have in your craft stash, because if you're into having candles around your house, you can save a lot of money. You simply melt down some wax, and then you can buy candle dye, and you can mix the colors to whatever you want. See how much lighter they dry when you first put them down. Then you pour out the wax, and you can add your own essential oils, and you're done. You just saved 20 bucks, 30 bucks, 40 bucks. I don't know, candles are getting really expensive these days. But of course, you can always get candles like these. I think this was like $1 or $2 at IKEA. It's not scented. I think they sell scented candles, but I don't love the scents. But anyway, you can just grab something like this at a number of stores and pop it in your vintage glassware, and there you go, you're done. You could add a little essential oil just to make it smell nice when they receive it. It's probably not gonna stay there when it burns, but it's a nice gesture. And you're good to go. If you are the proud owner of some polymer clay, which I suspect many of you DIYers are, unless there's still some supply chain issues. I don't know, are there? I'm not sure. You used to be able to just grab that at any craft store. Pandemic happens, there's no more clay. Everybody wants clay, and this is why. Anyway, we're making a trivet because upon research, I didn't find too many like cute, fun, modern trivets that I was into. So I was like, let's make one. It doesn't matter what color clay you use, even if you can only find like horrible colors at the craft store left over. It's all good because we're gonna paint it. I started rolling out a flat piece somewhere around 6 by 6 inches. You can use popsicle sticks glued together to control the thickness of your clay. For this piece, I did a thickness of 2 popsicle sticks, and that was able to keep it level on all sides. I cut out an organic shape and smoothed out the sides with my fingers. Then I rolled out some clay into a long rope and mimicked the shape along the edges about an inch or so in. I used rubbing alcohol to smooth out any lines or blemishes and baked according to the manufacturer's instructions. When it was done, I sanded it down with 120 grit sandpaper.
Kind of bumps.
And followed that up with a 320 grit sandpaper. I grabbed some high heat spray paint from the hardware store in this cream color. It's usually used to coat grills, but I figured it would probably work okay for this. However, I'm happy with the monotone look. I taped up everything but the squiggle and then painted that part black. And then it started to rain, so that got pretty rushed. Oh my god. It's starting to rain. Retreat. Okay, I had to stop working yesterday with all the rain because it just wasn't really possible to be using spray paint inside of my home. I've seen people do that, but I just, no thank you. So this is where we're at. In the sun of a new day, I removed the tape and found that the black had gotten onto parts of the trivet that I wanted to stay cream. Rather than taping everything up in the opposite way, I decided to try spraying the paint down on cardboard and then painting it on with a brush. In retrospect, I would have baked the 2 pieces separately and painted them and then glued them together. They do make clear high heat spray paint, so you could just paint it with acrylic paint and then coat it with clear later. And I'm sure that would work just fine. But as always, that is why I am here, to experiment for you so that you can do it better. Despite the few hiccups that I ran into, I'm really happy with how this piece turned out, and I'm excited to gift it to another fellow cook or just myself, because I want to keep it now. Last we have what is by far the most simple gift. When in doubt, give a bottle of wine. Head to your local wine shop and learn a thing or two about sparkling wine or grower champagne, or choose a fun still wine in any color you want. We got white, we got rosé, we got orange, we got red. Pair with some cute glassware like these vintage champagne coupes or whatever glassware you can find that you like. And you've got yourself an easy present. Bonus tip, if you're going on a plane or if the person is coming on a plane to you, research local wine shops in that person's area and get them a gift certificate, or ask if you can buy a bottle of wine for them to pick up. Or some wine shops have wine clubs, you could get them a month or 2 of that. And all of those things make great gifts as well. Support local wine shops. Well, I hope these were helpful or at least inspiring for your last minute gifting needs. Let me know in the comments which one was your favorite. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and found it helpful. Good luck out there and happy holidays. Bye. It matches my kitchen. Everything matches my kitchen. No. I'll give it to somebody. Don't worry. You won't see it in my house again.